Thank you, Julia. Well, hello everybody, and thank you so much. I'm Dame Dr. Susan Jewell, and I'm the CEO and President of MMAARS, which stands for Mars Moon Astronautics Academy and Research Sciences. And this is a legacy from the other organization that we started in 2016. So we're not a newbie in the market or in this sector. We've been doing analog astronautic training and deploying crews since 2016, and also very much focused in the commercial, private sector space and in entrepreneur and investment to be able to not only to expand the voice for astronautic and human exploration, but also to get funding for entrepreneurs, pioneers, visionaries, for their ideas to be able to eventually become a technology or a procedure or a protocol that will enable humanity to thrive in space and have permanence in space. And that is something that I think is very unique for what we're doing as an organization. So yes, our tagline is training the next generation leaders and becoming super space heroes who dare to win, because it really is about not only learning about the technology or to develop new ideas, it's also the inner space transformation. And I think is a very integral part of our training programs, as well as to allow individuals opportunities to be able to engage in this sector. And so what we are very, very, very active is advocating the UN SDGs, which is inclusivity, diversity, and equality, because I think that space is for all, and to date, it hasn't been for all, it has been the select few. So we want to change that conversation, and we want to change that paradigm. And for MMAARS, we offer lots of opportunities, scholarships, internships, mentorships, and so on and so forth. So that is who we are, MMAARS. Specifically, I want to add is that we are not only training analog astronauts and next generation leaders, we are also very actively focused in upskilling and reskilling career professionals to be able to enter the 21st century industry sector. And that is something we're very excited about. And of course, a lot of us have been impacted by COVID-19, lost our jobs, or our industry is, going out of phase, and then where do we go, right? So that's something we're very, very actively involved in. So as I said, MMAARS, we use space and astronautics really as a conversational sort of opener. So, we use it as a way for inspiring, innovating, and educating the private sectors, the citizen scientists, those who do not understand why do we want to go to space. I think that is something that we have a challenge with over the years, is to be able to go to an average person who is not in this sector and say, hey, would you like to engage in space exploration? And then they'll go, why would I do that, and how, if I am interested? So we want to use MMAARS as well as a platform for these purposes. Particularly also, as I just mentioned, MMAARS is very focused in social impact and inclusivity, because at the end of the day, whatever we develop, whatever we do for space exploration, it also needs to have that huge social impact that will improve life on Earth. Not only is it for us to support us to have permanence in space, but also what does it do to be able to benefit life on Earth? And that's what we're very interested in. So anything that we do, which of course we are this research science organization as well, that anything we develop, any new discoveries has to have what we call the MTP, and that stands for massive transformative purpose, which would have social impact. So either creating whole new paradigms, whole new models of how we work, that is for us to become future, space travelers or space settlers, is also how do we improve spaceship Earth and the humanity here on Earth. That is so important for us, and inclusivity is what space is really all about, space for all. So here's a very high level of our program, and we have multiple training programs that we've curated and developed over the years. But the entry level is our virtual program, virtual level 1. So yes, we do have a developed virtual training program. Level 1 is the entry portal. Everybody needs to go through virtual level 1. Then you have the chance to continue to, oh, I don't know why it's doing that, continue to all the other levels, but you also have a chance to come into our in-person fidelity training missions. We have low fidelity, mid, extreme, high fidelity. And this is why we're very excited, because you don't just come in for one mission and then that's over with. What you do with MMAARS is we have curated all these very specific training programs that, you know, that continues your training. And eventually our goal is to become the first certificate or graduate or PhD degree program. And that is what we're talking with several universities, United States, to eventually become an accredited degree program that you can transfer your credits. To me, this is what we're trying to pioneer. And I think this is what's needed, right? I mean, it's great to come into an analog training and have that experience and do your research, and that's wonderful. But to have it as the first accredited degree program, and that to me is what I think would then establish this as a real disciplined field. And we're doing this on a global basis as well, working with other countries. And as you can see, my accent, even though I've lost a lot of the accents, I'm from Britain. So I'm working with the UK as well, and in the European and Asia. So with that, this is give you an example of our virtual training, which COVID forced us to actually expedite and develop this last year. And since then, it has really, really expanded and has been very, very successful. But our virtual program is a hybrid program because we have our base camp out here in Mojave. So when our participants come in, they come in through, you know, the online platform, usually Zoom, and then they are also able to work with the crews here at the base camp throughout the program as well. So in level 2, that's kind of what will happen more than in level 1. But as you can see, it's a hybrid program. It's not just coming in, you know, through Zoom and you're just doing this virtually talking and you know, not having the ability to apply the practical, from a practical standpoint, apply what you learn virtually into a practical training. So this slide is really showing you what we're going to be launching later this year. We're developing with the augmented reality, as well as with the spatial computing, you know, the HoloLens, a multiplayer astronautic training using VR, AR. Not so much VR because that's virtual reality. It's more using the advanced technology of the HoloLens, spatial computing, to be able to develop multiplayer. So now you can come in, before you come in person, you're going to be able to go through a lot of our training modules as a tele-avatar, you know, or as a telepresence. And here our first module will be what we've pioneered over the years, is our Mars medics, or now we call it the space medics because we've included the moon, right? So this is something I think is really exciting, because this technology is going to be the technology that is going to change the paradigm for education, and that the fact that you can actually be very interactive, you could be in a full simulated environment, you know, as an analog astronaut, not only as a single player, but working with other players, you know, with other avatars that come in real time. And I think this is going to change the whole paradigm, how we're going to train. So we're going to launch this for our participants before they come into our actual in-person mission. So this is what we've been doing and curated over since 2016, our in-person astronaut training. This is a fully curated program. In other words, it's not coming in and you're on your own and you're going to rent the facility and you've got to develop your own schedule. No. MMAARS is a fully curated schedule. You could see some of the activities that you would engage in when you come into our training program. And below you see some pictures. These are just a few of the selection that you will engage in. But the main common denominator of all the activities is that one thing about MMAARS is that we only focus on exponential frontier novel technologies. So that is what you get to learn about. that is what you get interactive with. And when you come into our mission, you actually get to work on these technologies. So on the upper left is kind of our unique patent pending, where we've deployed our missions in these pods that are connected by tunnels. But on the upper right, you see these huge geodesic domes that we are deploying here in our MMAARS base in Mojave, where it can hold up to 1,000 of our graduates. And that's our moonshot where we're heading. So this huge sort of the first sort of Martian lunar settlement community is what we're heading towards building by 2022. So we're also developing our advanced astronaut training program. My co-founder is actually my daughter, and she's a commercial pilot, and we're literally based 35 minutes from the Mojave Spaceport. This area is going to be the epicenter of commercial space and private civilian space area. And so we're going to purchase several small planes, and we're going to start the zero-G parabolic flight training for our participants and our trainers, including also, we've already started underwater EVA, because in our training, we have a swimming pool, kind of like similar, obviously not on that large scale of the neutral buoyancy lab, that astronauts train up in Johnson Space Center. But we've got swimming pool, and we've got access to the beaches here in Malibu Beach. So we've already started underwater EVA training. And I think that's the Aquanaut training program that we're curating, and being able to offer that next year. And it's so interesting that we're literally like 2 hours away from the lava tubes. There are lava tubes out here outside Las Vegas. So we will be curating lava tube training and cave training as well. That will be included in our training program. This is something I'm really excited about, and I would love to be able to partner with others who are involved in these communities. This is our initiatives that MMAARS has already started, and I think this is something that's going to change the paradigm of space exploration and the conversation and the opportunities for more people to be involved. And as I said, we're very involved with the UN SDGs, right? With the inclusivity, diversity, and equality. If we don't bring that discussion and these opportunities for these other communities to involve, then space is really not for all. And that to me is a shame, because humanity going into space, it should be inclusive of everyone, no matter which community you belong to. So our initiatives that we started is, I think, so exciting, is the Para Astronaut, where we will actually have disabled individuals coming into our training programs and into our training facility here. It doesn't matter if you have a disability, as long as your cognitive function is intact, we will absolutely love to have you on board, especially our virtual training, right? I mean, why are you eliminated just because you have a disability, right? To me, that is, that has, to me, I think we should change that phrase of, the right stuff. It should be the new right stuff, or the next right stuff, right? That includes everyone. So the Para Astronaut training program, we've already initiated. We're working with several communities from the disabled community and bringing them in. The other ones I think are just as important. The Apollonauts are the baby boomers like myself, right? That have actually saw humans step on another world, the Apollo mission. I saw Neil Armstrong step on the moon when I was 7. And then now, when I talk to my peers, they say, I'm too old. I don't think I'll ever have the opportunity. And it's that generation that really inspired us to actually advance the human exploration, in the last 51 years. And so I want to bring in, even doesn't matter your age. I don't think age should ever be a factor in why you have the opportunity, but it has been. I've never been in a mission, these analog missions, that had anyone over 70. So I want to be able to change, or not just I, but our MMAARS and our community and our partnership with multiple private sectors. It doesn't matter your age, as long as your cognitive functions are intact, you can have this opportunity. So the Apollonauts are the baby boomer generations that we all bring in. So in our missions, we'll have an eclectic crew mix of older individuals, even in their 80s or even their 90s, as long as their cognitive function intact, working with a disabled person, you know, working the LGBTQ minority, underserved, or, you know, definitely, you know, women and girls, I'm an advocate for, right? But in our case, Women on Mars is very focused on women that are founders, that have ideas to do a startup company. To date, and I've been in this sector and I've seen it, I can't believe that with the Me Too movement, that we also have to deal with the same challenges as a woman, especially minority women, in the investment world, right? In the entrepreneurial sector. And it's really amazing how that hasn't changed. So I want to be able to bring in women, give them this empowerment, to show them the tools, how they can stand up for themselves, to not have to compromise to get investors on board for their vision. It's a really amazing that we're in the 2021 and we still having that in this sector. Hasn't changed at all. So we're actually going to be starting an accelerator program at the end of this year or early first quarter of 2022 that is really about, you know, empowering women to be entrepreneurs and start up their company. So this is an artist rendition, of course, but this is what we're building out in the Mojave Desert. We own the land here. We can do what we want. We can really work with the council here, and the city, right? The city individuals, to be able to say, you know, build the economy. We are working with the areas here to be able to build out the first private commercial space economy in real practice, right? Within the next decade, you know, California City and the Mojave Desert here, because of the spaceport, is going to be built as a model for private sector civilian space. And this is what we want to build. The first lunar Martian community, right? Settlement. Of course, it's not going to look like this. It's going to look variation of, but this is a vision, right? So this is actually the real picture of a sunset out in our MR space that we're building, and we're deploying our missions. And we're so excited because it's about time to change the model of how we do analog astronautics. Yes, it's wonderful to have these habitats and, you know, crews of 6, whatever, but really we need to build out on that and expand that and develop, you know, what we are doing is to actually develop the first analog astronaut community of over 1,000 living in full isolated, confined environment, living in full simulation as a community. Because if Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos say they want to build these, you know, these settlements on surface of Moon and Mars and fly these people out there, well, they better have the experience of what it takes to live and thrive, not just survive, you know, as a community. And that's what we're doing. So this is kind of giving you an idea of what we've done since 2016. The first, you know, our patent pending pods are deploying these smaller missions, then buying the land out here in Mojave. And this is what we're developing, the MMAARS base. This is a very exciting time. So this is just giving you an idea of what our pods are. This is a mobile, portable base camp that can be expandable, that is able to deploy anywhere, anytime. And the fact that it allowed us to do station to station, the first scenario of having multiple stations that allow us to, sorry, I don't know why it's doing this, to be able to deploy multiple crews at different geographic location and working together. And that to me is really exciting. This is an example of a picture of actually a crew we deployed last year during COVID, and you could see them there in the daylight in the environment. And what's so exciting about what MMAARS has done is that we are the first and only commercial private organization to deploy to high fidelity. And here we've deployed to Nepal, and we will be going to Everest Base Camp and even beyond Everest Base Camp to Base Camp 1 and 2, which is around 22,000, 23,000, and in full simulation. No one's ever done that. And this is something that we are very, very interested in doing, because obviously my background's in medicine and space medicine. So we want to test, you know, the medical aspect, the med tech technology in these extreme environments. We are going to be going to Antarctica, to Arctic, Atacama Desert, really austere environments around, the planet here on Earth, and to be able to test the crews, the human factors, test technology, and so on and so forth. Well, this is just an example of what we did as a first station to station, working with MDRS in 2019, December, and we had a crew of 16. We divided them half the crew in our mobile portable base camp, another the MDR station, and then swapping them over in the second week, and working under this kind of caveat of how do two stations work together and throwing these scenarios in. But really, it was also very, very challenging, because it was a very harsh winter. This was when they arrived, and it started snowing, and then the second day we were under 3 feet of snow, and they had to work under that. And that was interesting, right, to test them, their resilience under these extreme factors. This is just giving you an example of pictures of a lot of these EVAs that we do. And what is interesting, we're very close to, and you could see the peak there is when they do an EVA, and this is at Vasquez Rocks. This is the area that was famous for the original filming of Star Trek in the 60s. And we actually do training there. So that's very interesting, to have this connection with media and with Star Trek, right? Science fiction in actual reality. So we do EVAs there at Vasquez Rocks as well. Last, but the idea of specialization training. This is give you an idea of some of the specialization training that you can be involved in, as well as we expand, the program, as you continue work training with MMAARS. And here's some pictures of some of the technologies, but also going deploying at the austere environments. That upper left is doing our Mars medic training in 2018 to 15,000 feet. And then using a lot of technologies where you get to actually have hands-on interaction, the robotic arm, doing tele-anesthesia, telesurgery, learning how to do medical protocols and triaging. Yes, so that actually is what we're working on, 3D printing, and working on how to apply 3D printing technology in special areas. In this case, how do you 3D print medical devices and tools, and then integrate it into our tele-anesthesia, telesurgery, protocols. I mean, it's really the technology you learn, but what's the application, right? And what are the procedures? That is what we're working on in our R&D area. And of course, this is my other company, Avatar Medic, part of the X Prize. We're developing the first tele-robotic humanoid robot and tele-avatar presence. And I'm working on bringing that. And this is the future of how you're going to engage remotely, right, with the astronauts in space, and then an expert coming in using the tele-avatar, telepresence, and be able to do remote surgery. And that, to me, is the paradigm change. Here is just the idea of MMAARS, where you join our alumni community once you graduate, and then you also will be able to go continue training, and then working, obviously, we're research and we're scientists, so you can also be co-author in our publications. This year we got accepted again in the fourth year in a row to IAC. We've had three or four abstracts accepted. So we actually work with our graduates where they have many opportunities to once they graduate, join our alumni community, and they can present, they can co-author, get work on publications, advance their research sort of acumen, as well as we help support you on your career journey, and we give you the scholarships, we give you the internships, the mentorships. So that's MMAARS, training next generation leaders and I'm training you to become super space heroes with lots of things. So we're, it's been a long journey, and it's a continuing journey, and we want to be able to open up the opportunities where, it's not just for scientists, it's not just for people interested in space, it's also for people who are visionaries, pioneers, people who are innovators, entrepreneurs, people who are artists across the board. Multidisciplinary is really what we want, right? That's the future, I think, of crews that will be selected, and also future space settlers, right? It's a whole community of everybody involved. You know, we are also going to be selecting people who are comedians, because we all know that humor and laughter is a great therapeutic, way to be able to reduce stress and to also bond. So that is something that I think is very important, and I think that needs to be a conversation that we need to engage others so that we can have a bigger voice, right? Is to say to others outside our sort of niche area, or people that are already in our choir, as they say, is those are not in the choirs, how do we engage them, bring them in? So that is kind of where I think that we need to move this conversation forward. And that's MMAARS. And I would love, if Julio, I have a lot of students here who are graduates, and I would like to give them a voice for them to share with others here about their experience, if that's possible. If I can just call a few of them, and they can
Yes,
just unmute.
yes.
All right.
Also, it's possible. I believe Katika is interested to speak, right?
Ashish.
Yes.
Yes. Ashish, would you like to just say a few words of your experience?
Yeah, ma'am. Hi everyone, good evening. I'm Ashish Dara from MMAARS Academy. I actually graduated from MMAARS Virtual Level 1 April cohort. My experience from MMAARS was very incredible. During this program, I have learned a lot of informational things. I have gained and increased my knowledge very much. I'm going to tell you what is the main benefits of MMAARS, what's the main point, and why you should also join MMAARS. So, what's the main benefits of MMRs? You will be having a chance to go in in-person missions, astronautic missions in Mojave deserts, learning and gaining lots of knowledge on analog astronauts. You will be learning how to manage time and also learn leadership qualities, team cooperation, team communication, collaborating with your team, and many more. What's MMRs and what's its vision? MMR stands for Moon Mars Astronautics Academy and Research Science. MMR's vision is actually to train next generation professional trainers, teaching to acquire practical hands-on expertise to enter new space era. Why? You may ask, cause MMRs wants us to learn about Mars and Moon habitat, if there could be life on there, so there could be humans staying over there. And finally, why you should be joining MMRs. If you want to acquire knowledge and gain skills and knowledge about space, Mars, and lunar settlements, then MMRs is the best opportunity for you. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Suzanne, for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you so much. You're so sweet. Yes, so thank you. Maybe we can just have one more person from maybe, hey, Roxy, would you like to say a few words?
Also, if possible, open the camera to the audience, see the participants. Is also welcome.
Yes.
If
I wish
possible.
I could do that. Yes, if possible. Roxy, would you like to say a few words?
Yes, yes. I'm going to turn on my camera.
Wonderful. So why Roxy is turning on her camera? Yes, so I would like those who are here, we do offer scholarships, various scholarships as well to support you, because we think that's very important, where money usually, finances is usually an obstacle, right, for individuals to join these training, especially in person. So we definitely want to support, especially qualified individuals, students, or individual citizen scientists who are really passionate about this and really want to have this engagement and this experiential learning opportunities. So we do offer scholarships, and we've been doing this since the beginning. And that's something I'm very, very happy to do. and so if you're interested, please reach out to us, and we can always, don't ever let money be the obstacle to stop you from your passion or your life journey, right? If you really want to do something and you really want to achieve something, you will find a way. And that's something that I want to share with every single person here. And some of our students are, 10 years old, and amazing individual, because age isn't a determination of what you can achieve. And some of our younger students who come in our virtual program, amazing individuals, what they've achieved, what their skills are. And obviously they're young, so they don't have the financial capabilities, so we want to support them and bring them along the journey. And so that's something I want to share. Go ahead, Roxy. Sorry.
Dr. Susan. Hello, my name is Roxy Williams. I am a computer engineer student, and I am so glad to share my experience and what it's like to be part of MMAARS. I was part of the virtual training program, and I had a really great experience. I had never experienced something like that before, and being part of the community, learning different topics that maybe I didn't learn in the past, but apply all the knowledge I have in computer engineering with what I was learning during the cohort or during the time we were having the virtual training was great. We learned about different topics regarding lunar missions and at the same time Mars. I had the pleasure to be a crew commander and being leading and having that experience of leading a group and thinking for myself and personally, I took it really serious, and I even imagined that I was in an in-person mission. So it was really great. I really recommend it. And one of the things that I really love about MMAARS is that they are very inclusive. I'm coming from a country that the space sector, the space field is not really promoted or developed, and having the chance to have someone who can hear us and see that potential that we have, it's really great because it gives us the opportunity to keep developing our career path in the space sector when we think that maybe we wouldn't be able to do so. So I just wanted to share that really quickly and point out that we touched on topics, as Dr. Susan said, regarding how we can apply the space, how we can apply space and exponential technology. One of the projects we did with our crew was to develop a design of a hospital in the moon and things like that we have the chance to develop, to learn, to discuss with the group, and at the same time see the benefits of doing it. It's something that makes us get better in our major and at the same time in our profession in the future. So I wanted to share that. And thank you so much, Dr. Susan, for giving me the opportunity to be part of the virtual training program, and at the same time, giving me that scholarship to be part in the future of an in-person mission.
That's right. Thank you. Yeah, Roxy was part of it. So in the middle of our program, there's actually a mini hackathon. And so our program is not coming in and just being passive. Our program is very incentivized and very interactive, right? So we don't have talking heads. I use that word, talking heads. In other words, people don't just come in and talk, right? It's very, very interactive, and that is the mainstay, I think, and incentivized. In other words, that the whole program, there are inter-competitions and you win prizes, but the main also prizes in the middle. We instill a hackathon, and then through that, the winning team or crew team actually gets a full scholarship worth $3,500 each, that they can come into an in-person mission. So I think if you really are going to incentivize individuals, you got to give them something, especially in the virtual world, right, where it's so remote, and also how can you really interact with others. So you want to give them a sense of, well, if I do something, I'm going to get something back, because that's human nature, right? It doesn't have to be money. It could be, oh wow, I can get an internship, right? I can work on this. I can actually bring in a project idea that I have, and I can literally, have it tested out in an in-person mission, and so on and so forth. Or yes, you can actually win, a scholarship, which is money, indirect money, right? So that's what I think Roxy, right, your team did an absolutely wonderful idea in the hackathon. So her whole crew won a full scholarship each to come in, and that's something we can do because we have our training facility out here that we're able to offer. So there's that connection between coming in virtually, which is actually a hybrid program, and then applying what you learn in a practical way, right, through the in-person mission, and getting that full experiential learning. I think that is where you get that strong connection, right? It's okay, you do academic or intellectual discourse, and learning it through a virtual program, someone's talking to you, or you're going it through the books or digital books in this case, right? It's better to also, you really can see if a person really absorbed the information when you see them applying in a practical sense. And so what's a better way than to say, come into an in-person mission of what you just learned, right, in the virtual program, and apply that in a real setting. So that to me is really exciting. I think Jazz wrote a question. Jazz, do you want to ask your question? I saw something in there.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for the presentation, Susan. Yeah, I'm just curious if you could share maybe some more details about the virtual curriculum and who designed the curriculum and who delivers it as well. I think I saw one of your slides had it on, but you skipped through it quite quickly.
Yeah, because I was at the end of my presentation. That was an extra slide. Yeah, so our curriculum was designed by our experts. Obviously I've been in this field for nearly over 20 years or more, right? So very well connected, a lot of SMEs, stands for subject matter experts in their different fields. And so we designed it and with a lot of the experts in their field. And during the program, and by the way, the virtual level 1 is a 12-day program, but it is divided over, well, it depends on the age group. So for the adult training program for the level 1, it's divided over 4 weeks with 3-day weekends over the 4 weeks, and it's 3 hours, but 3 hours, each day. But during the week, you're going to have to work in your crew teams for a couple of hours as well, because there are assignments and there are deliverables that you need to, tasks that you've been assigned to, and so on and so forth. And then we do bring in experts during the program to present, from 30 minutes or so, that they can interact throughout the program. So there are SMEs in different subjects, but as I said, our subjects, the fields are very exponential, frontier technology. So for example, we'll bring in governance, blockchain, cryptocurrency. What is cryptocurrency? We're looking at different styles of governance, which we already started in our in-person mission in 2019, where we're looking at different types of governance or leaderships in our crew, which I think is very important, especially if we're building a community, here. We're in a of over 100 to 1,000, we've better develop the governance model, right? And we don't want to bring in just the hierarchical military, because that doesn't work, never does. We've tried that many times, always disaster. So we're looking at other governance like holacracy, or, what is holacracy? Most people don't even know that, but we're consensus model and all this, but using blockchain, right? On the blockchain, I'm giving you an example of what's so unique about our training program and what the participants engage in, right? And we're bringing the experts who are in that field to give the presentation and so on. And then we get the participants to actually, do a short assignment on that particular technology. So obviously I've already mentioned we're working with Microsoft with the HoloLens. So we're working on developing different training programs using HoloLens in the metaverse, right? The simulated world. So there are all these really advanced novel technologies that the participants engage in. Of course, we do have the robotics, the rovers, all that's part of the mission, and but there has to be some kind of connection to the application in a practical sense, and also how this advances for future space exploration. And for me, it's more about settlement on a celestial body versus going deep space in a, on a spacecraft, right? I'm more about planetary settlement and developing the community and the future, literally a future city on Moon and Mars, right? So that's kind of what I'm focused on. So for example, out here, our moon base, our MMAARS base, which is named similar to what Elon is building right out there in Boca Chica or Chica Boca, I forget how you say that, where he is building the star base. So we're going to build the MMAARS base. And the idea is like, if you are going to successfully have a community of analog astronauts of over 1,000, you better have all your systems in place, your life support system, how you're going to, so literally we're off grid, right? Everything we do, we're all off grid here. Solar power, we have everything solar powered. We're bringing in wind turbines. So because there's huge gale storms out here too, 40, 45 mile per hour wind. So we're bringing in wind turbine. We're literally going to be totally sustainable, off grid. And that's what we're building our city with. When we don't call it a city, I don't want to call it that. It's not a city. And I don't like to use the word settlement either, but I'm trying to think of, we just call it the MR space. But that's kind of where we're heading. And hopefully by 2023 that we'll have finished and we've actually started, bringing in our graduates first, to live at our MR space for 6 months to a year, and then advancing that to 3 years, right? That's kind of where we're heading towards our moonshot, as we call it, right? With by 2023, 2024, at least, the base would be finished, and to then continue testing a lot of the life support system and technologies that we will implement. So including the space clinic, right? I've been developing the space clinic paradigm since 2015. And every time we have our mission, we actually have an area where we designate the space clinic. And I think that is vitally important to be able to train the crews to do medical intervention. And we did this with Antarctica in 2014 at MDRS. We worked with the Antarctic team, medical team, to do the first teleanesthesia, telesurgery protocol training, right? So we've been advancing that over the years. And so we've brought in other technologies to do that. So that's an example of the, I went off a little bit, but the virtual training level 1 is an entry portal for you to come in, to understand the mission architecture, to understand the projects that you will work on, to give you an introduction to exponential technologies, and to also to allow you to use your imagination. Maybe you have an idea to bring in a project, and we will support that in our missions if it aligns with the vision and we've got the resource for you to come in as an entrepreneur. That's an important aspect of our organization model, is to support founders, people who have great ideas but don't know or don't have the resource to be able to implement that idea into something tangible, a project proposal. So we would support that very much, especially our graduates, right? So that is I'm excited, and we're going to keep moving forward, but one thing that's different from us is that we are very focused on the private sector. We work with the investors. We're here based in Silicon Valley as well as California. It's the epicenter of commercial space. SpaceX is here a few hours away. And so myself, my community, coming out of Founders Institute and Draper University, which is, Tim Draper, the billionaire. And then, we're very focused on being able to get investors on board to help the ideas, startup ideas, to get them moving forward. Because without money, it's sad to say, right? If you have an idea, you don't have the money resource, you can't really, build that. You can, but it's, slow. So that's kind of another arm that our organization is focused on, is the commercial space, private sector, entrepreneurial, startup, getting investors on board, and so on and so forth. So, we're like the octopus with lots of arms, And as I said in my presentation, we will be starting an accelerator program probably first quarter of 2022. So that is that's something that I think is exciting for us too, and to bring in an international group, because through the virtual training we're able to reach out to more of an international community. So we've worked with third world countries, what would say underdeveloped country. We work with Philippines, with the Caribbeans, allowing those individuals to have this opportunity, right? That's our inclusivity initiative. And then trying to support them financially to bring them actually out into our training missions, right? And that is something that I'm very excited about, that we are able to do through the virtual training. As I said, the virtual level 1 is the entry portal. I can talk to the cows come home, because that's a British saying, because I'm very passionate about this. But
Yes.
Julio, do you have any questions?
Yes, I'd like to congratulate you about the very entrepreneurial efforts to deliver a space educational content around the world. It's really a great initiative, and I'm very happy to see you working for the space citizenship around the world. And also, we are very excited to be about we have some possible partnerships in the future, and I believe this can be very fruitful. And also, these are my comments. I am very happy about. Also, we are open to questions from the audience, or everyone would like to present some questions. But it's very interesting what you're doing, really.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, like any good idea, it's never an overnight. And I've been working on this and its transformation, to where it is today for the last 25, 30 years, right? Different aspects of, of my experience and connecting and building that network, that foundation. It has been nearly a quarter of a century to get today to where it is MMAARS. And MMAARS is what it is today, but it is a legacy of multiple other ideas and organizations, that I either worked with or I formed, and then it did its own, it's very organic. It evolved just like a living organism, right? An organization is a living organism to me. You've got to let it evolve naturally, and it's based on human energy, right? So who you bring in, the partnerships you make, the individuals you bring in will then define what that at that moment, what that organization is going to become. And then it will keep changing, because why? The human energy that you bring in for that organization is going to change too. So it keeps evolving. So all I'm saying for anyone out here listening, so you have an idea, right? You have an idea, you have a concept, then you got to go and make that concept into something tangible, right? Well, how do you do that? Well, the first thing you need to do is to connect with other human beings, people who align with your idea, people who understand what you're trying to say, or really, really excited about your idea, and then want to work with you, and then that becomes something organic, right? And then you can keep moving on to that path and making it into whatever you want it to be. But along that journey, it's really hard. You have your challenges, you have your ups and downs. And that's what actually is what we build, is called the resilience of the individual. That if you believe in something, you truly believe in something from your authentically, right, from your heart, and you really believe in it and you want it to happen, right, you will never give up on that. And that's part of the training. And I think that's important. It's not just going into a training program or to any training program. It doesn't have to be astronautics. Is that you better have that passion, that drives you, because it's not easy. It's never easy, but that's all part of life though, isn't it? Right? is to never give up and to pursue, you know, your dream, and never let anybody. And I, you know, really why I'm saying this is because a lot of my students are here and they're young ones too. They say never ever give up on your dream, and never let anybody, you know, say that you can't do it. Right? It's not easy. That's one thing I know. So all I'm saying is that MMAARS to date, to where it is now, has been very hard challenge. And I'm sure, you know, Julio, that you're, you know, Habitat Mar, I've known you for years. You know, we've both known this challenge and this path, right? And we never gave up on it. And still, you know, here we are today. And the main goal for the organization is really, yeah, space for all. That's really what I want to do. You know, bringing in the people that aligns with that vision, that it's really about space for all and helping us become multiplanetary. That's, yeah, that's the Mars shot. But ultimately, though, what is the Earth shot? Is to also improve life on Earth for billions of people. That is the strongest connection, and that is the driving force for the organization in the philosophical, from a philosophical way. But from a business standpoint, is to be able to curate all these training programs to give opportunities for everyone, no matter where you're from. As long as you have that passion and you're aligned, you know, you have that drive and you want to be part of this discussion or this community. And we want to expand that community, because today, and I've been in this community for many decades, and I've seen it very niche. You know, it's just an eclectic view saying, I want to do this, and it's not embracing others. I know that because I was part of that, right? Of, you know, not being excluded, you know, and other people, my peers and colleagues, being excluded because I'm a female, or because I'm a minority, you know, or I don't have that skill set, or I'm not in that niche group, and therefore you're excluded. So, you know, that's, to me, is all I'm saying here is for everyone is just never give up on your dream. You know, you all have superhero powers, you know, and if you don't know what they are, look into yourself and find out what are your superpowers. We all have them. And then, you know, work on it, right? And so I think a lot of this training program that you come into, these analog training programs in person, is really helping you for like the inner space transformation, helping you because you're actually going through it in real time. The experiences that you encounter, which are pretty unique in these analog training missions, is to actually help you find your superpowers or to enhance your superpowers and share it with others. And that's really why I think, you know, I'm so excited about the analog training, and having others being involved in it, and also people with very unique background, right? Like I said, comedians. I've never been in a crew. I've seen a crew that actually had a full professional comedian, or as I said, you know, somebody who has a full disability, you know, in a wheelchair, right? To me, it's like, wow, can you see if we actually show the world that this setting of analog training that is very inclusive of everyone, you know, a person on a wheelchair can actually be in a mission, you know, we can actually 3D print a prosthetic, design a prosthetic, you know, a limb for that person in that mission. Can you see that changes not only the individual, but the whole idea of what analog training is, and the future of what, you know, space settlers would be, these communities would be, everyone. That to me is the doing, the action is more important than the saying. And that's what we're trying to do. You know, really, it's all about the actions and not the words. I think somebody wanted to say something. Thank you.
Yes, also if someone have more questions, and I believe it was very interesting, the testimonials of the participants of your program, Susan. And I'm very happy to share, because we are recording. Also in the future, the people will be seeing. I believe there's some thoughts before your presentation. I believe it's also very important to complement what you are operating. And
think-
I'd like to say thanks so much for your presentation. Also, now we are open to your last words in this moment.
I think there's Siddharth. Siddharth says he wants to speak.
Okay.
Hello, can you hear me? Hello, can you hear
Yes.
me?
Yes.
Yes, so this is my testimonial. So hello everyone, my name is Siddharth Gopal and I had joined MMAARS community via a virtual level 1 course in December of 2020. In this course, I have learned a lot about space operations and survival procedures as well as their analog simulation. I have also learned about the different novel technologies such as CRISPR gene editing method, 3D printed meat, and as well as telemedicine. Once I finished the course, I joined an internship program with them wherein I am understanding carbon sequestration and 3D modeling. It has been an amazing experience for me to learn the cutting edge technologies, and I am also grateful for this opportunity in the program has given me prepared myself for dream and future in space. Thank you.
Well, thank you for that testimonial. That's very sweet of you. Yes. So the reason why Julio, I think it's great to encourage, the younger generation, because they are the next generation leaders, right? For them to have this experience and to empower them as well and to give them a voice. So in at MMAARS, our virtual training, that we do take a younger cohort from like 10 and up. And these are amazing individuals, I have to say, right? And then, of course, we have the adult cohort, and those are the professionals and this. But really, it's interesting to have an eclectic age group and to work with them. I think each person has something positive to contribute, and their ideas are just as strong as as somebody who's a professional that's been in the field for 20 years. Somebody who is like 12 years old has amazing ideas, and to see and encourage them and see their passion is something that we want to encourage, right? And to give them the opportunity. So that's something that I am very happy to reach out. So anybody here, doesn't matter about your age, the only thing is that we don't take anybody younger than in the virtual program, 10 and up, virtual level 1 and 2 is fine. But the in-person mission, you have to be 18 and above to come into our in-person, because we're based here in Los Angeles, in California, United States. So yeah, you need to be considered an adult, and that's 18 and above for our in-person missions. But I really think space, like I said, is for all age group to engage in, right? And so the virtual training is perfect, right? So I don't know, Julio, if your training program actually takes younger age groups.
Yes, we are trying to establish a partnership with schools. Last week we had a meeting with a school in Brazil, and also waiting the approval of them to be developing activities with kids. Also, something that was considered very interesting is trying to, in the program, like we are inviting the participants trying to imagine a station on Mars. Is what we are doing in the first moment is talk with professors and the directors of the school, trying to identify what we are discussing is connected to some disciplines in the school, like chemistry, physics, also sometimes in English or other possibilities, also geography. biology, and then it's very interesting how what we are doing is connected with these topics, because the professors would be more engaged also, or more committed with the program, because they can do some links with some aspects of the Mars and Moon exploration. I believe it's also a good way, not only seeing looking our methodology, but also do a connection with the program imagined by school, and then I believe it's a good way to deal with it.
Oh, that's great. We should, well, I'm going to talk with you anyway. So how we're going to partner together to offer the programs to more people, right? So this is some exciting times.
Yes, yes, I believe so. Also, something interesting since COVID, I remember last year you organized a very well done conversation with Scott Kelly in the beginning of pandemics, and
Yes.
it was one of the panelists, and I consider very interesting that moment, because it was a conversation about how the astronauts are dealing with social isolation. I believe this was very interesting, because it's very connected about you are doing, I am doing, in terms of virtual missions. And now I believe it's a good steps to try to do something more connected with education, in fundamental, high school, also faculty, also trying to do links with the contents from the educational institutions, I believe.
Yes, that's great. I think a lot of the students here, if you're interested in Julio's, he's the founder of Habitat. Maybe you can put the link in, Julio, for a lot of the graduates, and then you can reach out and see how you can join Julio's virtual training as well. You have a virtual training program, and that would be great. It's just continuing their education, virtually, right? Because I think a lot of our students at this here are from India, and so the virtual training works very well. I've just put in the chat box for those who are new to MMAARS that we'll offer a scholarship for you to join the virtual level 1. We have 2 programs coming up. Starting next week will be the first one, 11th of June, and then the next one is the 23rd of July. And as I mentioned, these are the 12-day. This is the level 1 virtual training. So if you're interested, just reach out to us there at the contact information, and then we will be able to speak with you directly and send you more information. And we welcome people from different disciplines, different backgrounds. As I said, we're very multidisciplinary, and we welcome anyone, as long as you're interested in, if you're passionate and you're interested to learn, then we'll welcome you.
Yes, Susan, thanks so much.
Yes, thank you.
Now I believe we are going to finish and conclude this program. Is my last words from this conference. It's the second edition of the Space Habitat event. The first edition was December of last year, and also in the first year we had 34 abstracts, and now 60 abstracts, and we are happy about. Also, look in our social media for Habitat Marte. Everybody are welcome to see our achievements. Also take part of the virtual missions. Also, I shared my contacts. And thanks so much. It's very good to see in the end of this program the testimonials of the kids, also the Ashika, and also other participants here. So also Siddhartha, also the other presenters here, so all the testimonials. And thanks so much, and have a wonderful day and also a great week. Okay, bye bye.
Thank you, Julio. Take care. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Take care.
Thank you.